Lane on the Buying Space channel. Please forgive me that there's no thumbnail. I had to come over to the table about 10 minutes ago and there was no phone stand, which is really weird because it was here um, just a couple of days ago. It may have. Actually, I was on an auction right before I left the state for several days, and now it's gone. It's kind of weird, but I haven't really noticed anything else gone, and I had no reason to move it. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I did. I did. I knew where it's at. Okay. I found this other phone stand, though, but I need a screwdriver for it. So, together, hold on. Let I just had. Hold on. I'm gonna set you here. Y'all can watch my eggs like we got a little nest going on. Okay. Anybody out there gonna say hello? Okay. I kind of needed to get another phone stand anyway, because the last auction I was on, my phone stand was not the right height. Okay, I guess that's what this little tool here is. It's a screwdriver, I think. Yes, it's working. All right. I needed a higher phone. This morning's confusion and work is going to pay off because I'm going to be on 2 auctions this next week. And I needed a little bit more height on my view for the auctions. So I'm getting ready to sell some stuff at 2 auctions on Johnny Cajun Roots Reseller and Dana's Pride Auction. Oh my goodness, this takes a lot of muscle to get this screwed in. My goodness. This thing, once it is screwed in, it will not move. Okay. All right, I'm getting it there. Using that muscle. Getting her done. Okay. I had not tried this phone stand before, obviously. I bought it brand new and offered it to my sister-in-law. I thought she could put this next to her laptop and use it at her desk, and she didn't want to. She's not really happy with cell phone technology at all. So let me see what the view looks like. Oh, that's much improved. Even with it out on, with that not on these boxes, that is higher. So, okay. So I'm going to put it over here. And while I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to straighten up this area. These are some of the things that I had, presented to sell. So I'm just going to wait for people to say hello. Okay, this is an empty box. A laundry bag. Oh, the little box I used to use to hold these things is now gone because I'm using it to ship. So I needed another phone stand out anyway. So this is, I'm not selling right now. This is just some of the things that I tried to sell the other day that people didn't want. Look at this beautiful little box. Isn't that great? It's got more red in it than I remember. Good morning, Michelle. So good to see you. I'm I've been offline or not live for weeks now, just here and there. I love the inside of this. It smells like teak wood. I love the smell of wood. But anyway, I'm going to remove this. Well, no, I'll just leave this inventory number on there. Yeah, my mother passed away on Good Friday, and we cremated her, and I found out the cremation process is a little bit different than having your loved one embalmed. That you can elongate the timeline between their passing and full closure as far as spreading or burial or internment of the. That's what happened. Usually, when in the past, when somebody in our family has died, it has been, like a 10-day process at most. And to have it last for over a month, it just it doesn't allow you to move on for a longer period of time until that's taken care of. And sorry, such a sad topic this morning, but I didn't want to wait until everything, that I was back to normal, because I'm beginning to understand that losing a parent chemically changes you. And when you get back to normal is never, that it forever changes you. And I didn't really realize that at first. So there are going to be mornings that I'm going to have something to remind me of it. And then there are going to be mornings that I'm going to be kind of like I was before and just talk about auctions and jewelry and glass. Yes. Yes, I need to write thank you cards today too. I'm glad you said that, Michelle, because I really do need to write thank you cards. We had one service here in town, and then we had just had another service Friday up north, and mom's interned next to dad now. The ashes are, and so from the very beginning, I was like, well, they're together now. I'm gonna have one of these ginger candies. These are pretty good. Hated by these people, and this is not something you can eat one and eat another and eat another. But ginger is really healthy stuff. And if I have just one a day, oh wow, yeah. Well, everything of my mom's is in my living room, and my living room already looked like a storage unit. So, I mean, really do need a storage unit. So, but the prices here, I don't know how the prices are in North Carolina for storage unit, but when the real estate prices go up, so do storage unit prices. I actually know somebody. I was just on her auction the other day, her and her family had a storage unit, and a new owner came in and doubled the storage unit prices. So in her area, so they took everything out of the storage unit and put it in their living area. In the living room, just like my place, is the living room storage unit. Oh, okay, so you know about high real estate prices. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's actually I do have some land I could put it on, but it's further away than North Carolina would be. Good morning, Shelby. So good to see you. Oh, thank you so much, Shelby. I'm just I just posted a video on my group on Monday, and it's a coffee maker, and inside the coffee, the pod, and they have pods now for those coffee makers that are superheroes. And this little pod that was in this coffee maker is has Wonder Woman on it, and I put the Wonder Woman theme song to it and posted it on my group on Facebook. And this thing is with Facebook groups, when when Facebook was going strong, it's been like a decade now. I had 1,500 members, and it was very active, and I didn't have to really do anything but come in and make sure somebody wasn't posting anything bad. Now it's actually easier to manage then. Yes, I have. I've been busy. I've been very busy, but I'm trying to. I've got 2 auctions this next week. I had to. It seems like every time I start to do auctions, things happen. Life gets in the way, but I've got lots of Fenton to sell. Now this Fenton, I'm not selling. This is what I collect. The blue opalescent hobnail is what I love, and it's just been, I need more space. I need to buy more space. I need a bigger house. People are like, "Oh, all that space for you and your, child." I'm like, "Yeah." Oh my goodness, of course. I remember when I lived on the north side of Jacksonville, I had a woman who came in. She had a family of 5 in the same space that me and my child had, and she just went off on me saying that, I wanted a big house. Of course I want a big house so I can fill every room with neat stuff. But I kind of understand it. I gave away, I've got an upstairs apartment here, and I gave away the bedroom furniture for it. Some of it was outside in the shed, and some of it was upstairs, and some of it was in here in the dining room. And if Mom was going to come at that point, she would have had a hospital bed. So I went ahead and gave it to this lady who is in charge of this organization, and I should really check on her, because a lot of her people that she was helping through her church were Hispanic people. And the bedroom suite went into a house that in the living room was a family, and in each bedroom was an entire family. So they had like 12 people living in a 2-bedroom house. And I can't imagine that. Now, I've heard in a lot of places that, that place in Ohio, somebody talked about people eating the wildlife. Well, people have been eating wildlife in the United States of America since before any European arrived. I'll just say that. I mean, it's natural. We're all carnivores to eat wildlife. But anyway, with that aside, what they do in a lot of places where they have a large workforce that's people with green cards, they will rent bunks in a house. Like this house, you could put like 6 or 7 double bunk beds, and upstairs too you could put 4 more. So you could put like, I don't know, 11 or 12 double bunk beds. And you could have 24 renters in one house. And that's what they were doing. I don't know what the laws are, especially in Florida. This was up in Ohio, that people were making a buzz about all these people in this town, because it's like there was one industry there that had hired all these people that moved in to the town, and the locals were not happy. They didn't drive the same way that they drove on the roads, and all kinds of different stuff like that. So anyway, just a lot of conflict and that happens when there's several different cultures that come together. to live. And that's been happening in the United States since, since the first Europeans arrived. There was conflict. But anyway, what they do is, but they'll take, and it gets worse. So there's 24 places to sleep, and there are 24 people that sleep in those places. But wait, one of the bunks, just one, is slept in for 8 hours. And then another person comes in and sleeps in that bunk for 8 hours. So they rent the bunks out, not only one per person, but three per person. So that would mean, oh my gosh, let me do the math. 24 times 2 is 48. So 72 people would be living in this house. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Have a good day, Michelle. Here's a fishing ornament. I've just got random stuff around me. Oh, and who remembers the Brady Bunch? Here are some Marsha stockings. So anyway, that's what the people were upset about. But the people that rented out the houses were making a lot of money. And I don't know if they were some of the locals or not. Maybe the company that owned the single industry that was bringing in these people were also renting out the bunks. They used to do that in coal mines. They would have the housing would be owned by the company. You know, that song, "Oh, my soul to the company store," you know, that kind of thing. And the corporation that owned the coal mine would own the housing. And if you were dismissed, you would lose your credit at the company store, and you would lose your house, and your whole family would have to move. So that was kind of stacked against people. So I don't, resent these people that are coming in. I feel sorry for them because, they're being treated as far as labor as, without any rights. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to move this stuff right in front of me over. I don't know if I'm going to need that little screwdriver again for this stand. Getting things straightened up a little bit. It's been really chaotic around here. And I need to get a little bit organized before my next sale. I've got to ship some things out today, which is wonderful. That's kind of the goal, to ship things out, sell them and ship them. So I got this beautiful Ten Commandments necklace from Crystal at Crystal Clear TV. And this belonged to her mother. And I bought this from her before my mother died. And she came in, and even though my mother was still living, she was having problems. And it really affected me when she said that this belonged to her mother. But hanging on this stone Ten Commandments, and each little angel has a commandment behind it. Now, I can't turn it back. But see, I don't know if I can focus in on that or not. But each little angel has a 10 commandment on it. I've never seen anything like this before. It's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, okay, this has the Roman numeral on one side and has the commandment on the other. See if I can bring one more angel over the top where they're divided. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're 5 on this side, and I guess they're 5 in the back. These 10 commandments are really heavy. Okay, I guess one more or two to turn over. Well, there they are. I wonder if these are 1 to 5. But just so cute. I really appreciate having this. And I did not know that they belonged to her mother when I bought them and unboxed them. She came in on one of my lives one morning and told me that. And it was still when my mom was still alive. So I'll probably be passing some of my mom's stuff along in auctions. But it won't be like, good morning, Tooch Man. Okay, be safe out there. It has been like absolutely beautiful weather until yesterday. The first day I was back, it rained, and it rained on the trip. So for 2 days, it's been, raining around me. Of course, I don't know if it rained here the day before that because I was traveling. But Randy from Moonstone Crafts, she sells a lot of stuff that her mom used to own and her grandmother. And, I had enough stuff of my own to start with. And now I've got all this other stuff. Of course, when my mother moved over to my brother's, a lot of her stuff was donated. And we were just so busy taking care of her and taking care of the rest of us, too. I mean, Mom wasn't the only one with medical needs. And wow, it was just a lot to do. And this little hat pin came from Randy. But, I wonder if this belonged to her mother or her grandmother. She does say in her auctions, this belonged to my mother. This belonged to my grandmother, and we had it crated up. And Stephanie from the Groves Bargain Effect says that, too. She actually is going once a month to her grandmother's farm. And her grandmother has stuff that has been boxed up for decades. Now I got this at an auction. This looks like, something like that. Look at how thick that computer is. So, and the paper is going back and forth. Landed on a soft mat. It's going back and forth. Like, that paper that used to have little holes on the side that you fed it through the printer? It was a dot matrix printer. And this says, thank God it's Friday. Now, an item like this workaday kind of stuff is, people don't understand it anymore. When we went into the pestilence, I think I can say pestilence. But anyway, people don't want you using the C word. Good morning, Roll Call Cabin. People didn't even relate anymore to the 9 to 5 drive into work. Especially people that worked on the computers only. They just put on a headset and sit on the couch in their jammies and do the work and talk to customers. And some of them didn't even do that. They just kind of quietly quit and got a paycheck, some of them. Have you ever call a customer service line and the babies are crying in the background? And my pet peeve, I don't mind the babies so much or the puppies barking, but my pet peeve, and this is true for YouTube too, is the person that hasn't replaced the 9-volt battery in the fire detector. And every so often you hear that real sharp beep in the background. And it continues to do that. And I watched this one lady, and it's so funny. It's like, I found that so irritating, but I'm like, this is a really nice lady. I'm going to go to her lives. I find her interesting. She lives in a larger city than I do. And I really like listening to her. But I was so annoyed by the fact that she had 2 men living with her. It's not like, she couldn't put that on the honeydew list. And But it went on for months and months and months. And then, so I forced myself to go to her lives, because I liked her as a person. And what happened was, after that finally stopped, about a few weeks later, I stopped going. And I realized that I was forcing myself to go to her lives to overcome the fact that she had this battery problem. I mean, aren't people just silly? I'm just silly. It's so good to see you, Roll Call Cabin. I haven't been introducing people or their channels, but Roll Call Cabin is, well, I don't know if you want me to say what state you're in, but he has a cabin out in the woods that he built himself with a chainsaw. And every time there's a storm up there, a flood, which seems quite often, he has to go clear out the fallen trees. And I just love the campfire videos at night. He puts the camera on his campfire, and you hear the crackling wood. And he talks to people as they come in. I really enjoy that. And also he's got videos of creeks in his area on his property that are just wonderfully relaxing. I haven't been to the fishing videos for a minute. Oh, and Pooch Man came in. He's one of my wrenches. I don't know if I bought this. I think he sent this to me for free. Look at this cute puppy. But he sells at auctions. He's with East Coast resellers. My goodness, I need my coffee today. My lips are like thicker than normal. I think what's going on is I've got flowers in here, fresh cut flowers for Mom's memorial services. And one of them's about 5 days old, and one's like 15 days old. And they're getting ripe, but I don't want to get rid of them. But they are causing me to have a little bit of allergic reaction. And it's not healthy. I need to put them out on the porch or something. But I don't want to. If they go out on the porch, it's like I won't see them again. And if I won't see them again, it's like another thing of mine is gone. Yes, there are people that you just click with. And when I was young, we would go to Greenbrier County. And we had several family members and friends that had cabins out there. And we would go fishing, and I had a mini bike. I was a terror on that little mini bike. It was a Honda 70. And it wasn't the chunky Honda 70. It was the one that was designed like a full-size motorcycle or dirt bike. And I was a terror on that little thing. And I would just ride and ride and ride and ride and explore. And, sometimes there would be like this mountain that had been cut off for them to put electrical lines in. And I would, take a run and go up that steep incline, just like they used to have it on TV, and I don't see it anymore. I guess they stopped, but they used to do that on TV. They would have these mountains like that people would that was the whole challenge, was to get to the top. And a lot of people got hurt doing that. I never wrecked doing that. Now, I did make a jump one day that the back wheel flipped up, and as I was going up, I jumped over the hump. It was like 5 foot tall, landed crooked. My front wheel landed crooked, and so I went up this incline, and then I turned my wheel to come back down the incline, and there was like a 40-foot drop off, a sheer cliff, like, I don't know, 40, 50 feet in front of me. So what happened was there was this big rock there, and I hit the rock coming down this incline out of control, and my back tire flipped up, and my headlight hit the ground, and so did my face. But I didn't break anything in my face. I did have a bleeding and a scar, and I picked up the bike. I was a tough little kid. Picked up the bike, got back on the bike. I jumped the hill again to get home. And I was bleeding. I wasn't crying. I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't like ready to go to the emergency room. I was just like, oh, I need to go home. Had blood running down my face. And I pull into the garage, and my parents are there, and my brother. And they both, everybody looked at me in horror, like, oh, and I'm like, well, I had a little skid. And they were just flabbergasted. Of course, my father was very happy about the whole thing, that I had that kind of attitude. Because, he was the kind of man that if you didn't have a limb severed off, he wasn't taking you to the hospital. So I didn't have to go to the hospital. I had a scar for a while, but it's gone now. It's long gone. I didn't break my nose or any bones in my face. I didn't break my teeth. So there weren't any medical costs, and Dad was so happy about that. There were times in the past that we had those arguments with her when I was a kid, whether I should go to the emergency room or not. And about half the time I did, and half the time I didn't. I did, I think the only emergency room visit I remember when I was a kid, and actually, or two, I stepped out the back door, and we had this round concrete thing, and we'd heard something weird, and we didn't know what it was. And the lamp bulb that was right above the door with the light had fallen. And I stepped outside, and it was the glass from that lamp, and it went right up my right foot. And I mean, deep. I mean, an inch and a half deep piece of glass in my foot. And so they did take me to the hospital, and they sewed me up, sewed my foot up. And so I went to the emergency room then. And the next time I remember, I was 17, and I was in a car accident. My shoulder was dislocated. If I'd been around some other relatives besides the relative that was involved with the wreck, I think they would have just popped my shoulder back into place. This country folks, you know how people do. It's like, because the generation before that, I don't think they had an emergency room to take anybody to. My great-grandmother Laura's brother was a doctor, and he was in the community. But, they would, this is what old Doc Polly did. Let's do it too. So, that's the kind of environment my father grew up in, because he didn't have an emergency room. And he just thought it was like hysteria to go to the emergency room. Like, you needed to be dying, kind of thing. But occasionally people, even though they have minor issues and, it's after hours, they need antibiotics. Yeah. Okay. It was good seeing you. Yep. I understand. I understand completely. I gotta, get back to doing, what I need to be doing. Good morning, Jimmy versus, is that Maryland? Yeah, that's true. They didn't have a lot of people addicted to the things that people are addicted to now. I'll just say that. They didn't pass out pills like candy. If you were in pain, you were in pain. And, I know that, people had to bite down on things. I remember they had that back when I was young. They had things that you could bite on, or they would tell you to bite on. If you were in pain, and they just didn't, numb the areas, or they didn't have a lot of that available, even when I was young. So it was like, I've seen Civil War movies where people are getting things sawed off, and it's like, oh my goodness, without any anesthesia, without any local, usually they got whiskey, they got a slug of whiskey. Of course, a slug of whiskey probably really affect me because I'm not used to drinking it, but people were used to drinking it back then, and it wasn't probably as effective as what Let me see if I can show these eggs over here. As effective as it would be on somebody like me that's not used to drinking. I love these silver cups. This is a creamer. It's a pretty pattern on that. It's like it's like a curtain hanging down, and that pattern at the top is Greco-Roman. I just love that pattern. It's on blue willow dishes. I don't think I have a blue willow dish near me. I used to have one. Before I left, I had been taking communion at this table. Let me see. I just need to straighten all this stuff out. Oh, I just got chaos over here. And the box that I had some of the chaos in, I've used. So I need to do some unboxings. So I'll have weight a box. But the thing is, when I do an unboxing, I got more stuff. It's like, oh, but when I get stuff out of my boxes, usually there's a good amount. Oh, there's my ring sizers. Usually there's a good amount of packing in the boxes. And I've ended up lately with more packing than I have boxes, because I'll use the boxes to reorganize things, and I don't have to put them back like they're being shipped, so I can store them without so much bubble wrap. And so I ended up, efficiently putting everything like from 2 boxes in 1 box. But, it's a thing. And I'm thinking about Christmas in July, putting all my stuff in a box. Yes, moonshine. Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you said that, because we used to have this stuff called Purple Jesus. Raise your hand if you've drank Purple Jesus in your life. I had a friend that lived across the highway, that lived up on the mountain, and he had these parties, and he would make Purple Jesus. But what that was moonshine. Yeah, it's moonshine, and you added purple Kool-Aid. And, you get so drunk, you'd be yelling, Jesus. It was the joke. And it was very irreverent. I'm surprised lightning didn't strike us, but it didn't. And, and this guy, oh my gosh, he's been passed for over a decade, so I can say this now. And besides, I'm not going to give his name, but he had an arsenal. He collected weapons, and oh my gosh, he had everything. And I just, sometimes even like in the last year, I really, really regret not firing his rocket launcher. I mean, we were out in the middle of the woods, and there wouldn't have been any harm done for me firing that rocket launcher. Although I do remember that even back then, the shell for it, the missile, was quite pricey. So I think that was one of the things that held me back from doing it. But there used to be, before the pandemic, there was this place on the north side of Jacksonville where you could go and rent a tank and drive a tank. Now, I don't know if I'd be able to get in and out of the tank now, but they had this big field, and you could go out and run over cars and shoot at things in this tank. And I wanted to do that for the longest time. I finally got over it. I finally decided, hey, you're over 45. You need to calm down. You can't be riding motorcycles anymore. I went, I had driven a motorcycle in my 20s. And then I was contemplating getting a motorcycle when Marty was little, just to save money, driving around town. And then my dad passed away in a motorcycle accident, so I didn't want to look at a motorcycle for the longest time. But then by the time I was over that, which just been a few years ago, I decided that, I've got osteoporosis now, and I wouldn't bounce off the road well. And so I've not thought about doing that for a couple of years. But I don't know. It's those things. It is very fuel efficient, but the traffic here is not like, how do I say this? I think it was safer for me to drive a motorcycle in the mountains, going up those steep inclines and jumping over a hill, small hills, and, popping wheelies and doing that daredevil stuff. I think that was safer than me driving reasonably on a motorcycle in this traffic here. I mean, there are places where we have 12 lanes, and that's just through neighborhoods, just saying. And so the traffic here is kind of wild, and people don't see you. That's what happened to my dad. And the woman that pulled out in front of my dad was an experienced driver. She had training and certification and out the yazoo, and she was just like, "Oh, I didn't see him," But the Florida sun is bright, and well, his motorcycle was or bike. Well, it was really one of those dresser scooters, and not the kind of scooter that disabled people use, but a riding scooter. It was blue, wasn't gray, wasn't silver, wasn't white, but it wasn't bright red either. So, she should have been able to sing. But so my lives for a while are going to be in and out of my grief, and I've decided to go ahead with it. And if things get too personal, people don't have to watch it. And I've always maintained that I am what I am. And if you like it, stay. If you don't like it, there's so many other choices out there. And I do want you to be happy. You don't have to listen to me. I would never force anybody to listen to me. So, that's how that goes. I've been accused of that, though. But it's okay. Because it's like when I was young, there were these preachers saying that TV was evil. And then when the computer came along, the computer was evil. And now YouTube is evil, and PayPal's evil, and everything's evil. Some of these fundamentalist Christians still go around saying, all this stuff's evil. And here's how I look at it. There is evil stuff on YouTube, and there's evil stuff on the TV, and there's evil stuff on the internet. But you can change the channel. Back when we had just 3 channels, you could change the channel. And now that there are, 500 channels, you can change the channel. And now that everybody has their own little personal channel on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and YouTube and Facebook, and even, Zoom available, you can turn it off, or you can change, or you can just leave the room. If you're in a Zoom room with somebody that you don't like, you can just leave. It's not like the old-fashioned phone. Oh my gosh, I do have it. I have received, wait a minute, where is it? I have received the old-fashioned phone that you can hang up on. I ordered one at an auction, and it used to be like right now, if you have an argument with somebody, you just press a little button, you turn off your phone. Some people still throw their phones, which is always a huge mistake because you're just hurting yourself. But you can just click a button, literally, and end the conversation or leave the room or whatever you want to do. Nobody's forcing anybody to communicate anymore because, just click or say, I got to go right now, and then click and then text them that you don't want to talk to them anymore, or your business is done with them, and move on. That's all you have to do. And I've done it. And it's a shame that people aren't more polite. But the thing is, I feel like I get so many calls a day that are just spam. And I didn't used to get them on my phone, but I do now. Yep, yep. It, exactly. Dad would say, change the channel when you were watching your program, and everybody sat through commercials. You don't have to sit through commercials now. If you're watching something with commercials on it, you just mute it while the commercial's on, or you can press skip after so many seconds, and nobody has to put up with that even anymore. I mean, you could live a commercial-free life. You just have to pay more, as always. I heard the wildest thing today. I saw a headline. You know how headlines are. They're clickbait, and they're designed to make you curious about what's really going on. And the headline I saw that was like that today, this morning, was that Walmart was charging $100 for people to use the express lane. Now, as in most clickbait titles, that is not true, but there is a grain of truth in it, in that Walmart is now selling memberships. It's either $98 or $100 to have a membership. Now, during peak hours, also their delivery service people have priority in the self checkout lanes, and the members have priority in the self checkout lanes. So if you're shopping during the holidays and you're not, working as a delivery person, or you're not a member, you may have to wait in that self checkout line just as long as the other line. So you really would be paying for the convenience, if you wanted to buy the membership, for the convenience of having quick self checkout, which used to be 10 years ago, the self checkout was quick for everybody, but now not so much. Now that they don't have any cashiers on duty sometimes, which I don't think they should do. I think they should have at least one person working the cash registers for people that are disabled, but that's my opinion. And but anyway, I'm just been talking on and on about nothing and everything, and I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. And I'm out of here.